Hi everyone, welcome to our channel. So this is part 4 video on ReactJS CRUD example to consume GraphQL endpoint using Apollo GraphQL library. So now our main focus is on updating the item. Okay, so for updating the item, let's create a page level component. Okay, so close everything in the pages folder. Let me create a new component like edit toy.js. Okay, this is our edit toy component, and now let's configure routing in the app component. So here add one more route, okay, and path, and I will add a route like edit hyphen toy. But for edit, we will have a dynamic placeholder in the URL that is ID value. Why? Because I want to display the edit form with my item to edit, right? So we have a way item ID, right, to get the data. So I am going to use the ID value in the URL. So to create a dynamic route, you can specify a placeholder like colon ID. ID is our placeholder for dynamic URL. Okay. And in the element tag, I can pass my edit component. Okay, that's all about routing. Okay, so to populate route data, we have to fetch, right? That means get operation. Means query command I have to write. So here I want to prepare a query and I have to filter and get one of the item from the server. Okay, if I go to queries, here there are three methods, right? In the three methods, first method will fulfill our requirement. If you see ID is the input parameter and ID is the mandatory, so it will return single toy. So this is the ideal method for creating my query command. So what I will do, I will remove this old mutation. So since I am expecting query, right? So we have to add query keyword. Then our method is toy. So enter control space. Here you can get the intelligence and toy. And here we have to pass our ID value. So input value. So open circular braces. And here you can see ID, which is the server ID. But we have to add a variable. Okay, how to add variable? Dollar. And you can specify any name. But my convention, GraphQL variable matches with the normal ID variable. Okay, so I will use same name ID. Okay, so I have to define type of my variable, right? So open circular braces after query and dollar ID, and what its type, it is a ID, which is a JSON type of the GraphQL ID. Okay, just like a object. So add same ID, and it is non-nullable. That means I have to add the exclamatory here as well. Okay, and then after open the flower braces, and here we have to write what are the parameters we are expecting from the uh, server. Since I want to edit the record, right, that means I want to get all the information. So let's add all the properties. Okay, and now we have only one variable, right? So remove all these things, and we have only one variable, that is ID. For example, let me give like ID 2. Okay, now if I run, I must get my item. Okay, see, I got toy data, which is a single item of which ID is 2. Means I have filtered my data. Okay, so we have to use this now for populate our update form, right? So let me copy this query. Okay, and go to my toy query.js. Here, let's add one more constant. Okay, export constant get toy by ID. Okay, so we know GQL tag and backticks. Inside of backticks, add our query. Okay, Now let's go to our edit toy. So now what I will do, I will just copy some of the code from the my add component, okay? Because edit component and add component have lot of common code, okay? So the first thing is let's copy these things up to container, okay? And go to edit toy, okay? So here what I can change means let's change the form heading update a toy and form button name update, and for now remove this handler and let's just add a dummy arrow function, okay? And image URL ref, image under reference price, reference name I need to have, right? So let's go to add toy, okay? Add the namespace for useref here in edit component, okay? And copy the variables. These are the variables I required. So copy them and add in the component, okay? So form fields, okay, and useref variables are declared. And let's import container, row, column, and form group namespaces. For that, go to add toy, okay, copy this line of namespacing, okay. Now first let's try to read the ID value from the URL. So to read the dynamic value from the URL, we can use param that loads from the React router DOM, okay, and assign it to the object variable, okay, constant, and we have to specify the variable name exactly equal to our route dynamic placeholder. So route dynamic placeholder is ID, copy that and add here. So use param automatically pull the dynamic route value, okay. Now I can invoke the this query we just prepared, right? Get by ID. Let's try to invoke the get call by using the query command, okay? And once we receive the response, we have to populate it into our form, okay? So for that, for reading our get request, we know we can use query, okay? That loads from the Apollo client library. And to this, we have to pass our query command, that is get by ID. And here we are going to add our variable as well directly here, okay? So if you type variable, you can see variables, and our variable is only ID, okay? So ID, and to this ID I will pass my route value ID. By default it reads as a string, so what I will do, I am going to convert it as a number and assign it, okay? So I can read the data from this use query, okay? Data, right? So now what I will do, I am going to use the use effect, okay? Inside of the use effect, I am going to populate my form and I am going to check for data property changes, nothing but our API read query API changes, okay? So here what I will do, if data dot, and what is the next property inside of the data? Toy. That is nothing but the method name toy, okay? So that means I can copy from here, okay? So if those exist means if we receive response, then we have to populate it to our form. So we can assign the data to our reference variables. So to assign the data to reference variable, we can use name dot current dot value, okay? So it will inputs this value to the text fields that are going to generate here, okay? These form controls render as a text field, right? To the text field, whatever the ref variable we map, those values will be assigned. So here what I will do here, data dot toy dot, sorry, capital toy. Okay. So you can check the reference here, property names like this. Okay. So I am going to pass them. Okay. Next, price dot current dot value. Okay. Data dot toy dot value. Okay. Sorry. Price property name. And next image URL dot current dot value. Okay. Data dot toy dot image URL. Okay. So that's going to populate our form. So now to check this output, what I will do, I will add a add button in all toys component inside of the cart so that each item will have a edit button. Okay. So here what I will do, I will add a button like, okay, variant primary type button. Okay. On click, I can pass the route value. So I can use navigate variable just like add button. So navigate, but now our URL will have dynamic string, right? So I'm going to use backticks, specify slash and copy this, okay, and add here slash dollar and flower braces. So here I can pass dynamic value that is toy.id, okay. So let's add the button text like edit. Okay, let's check it. Okay, I am getting some error. Form is missing. So edit toy. Okay, here import form name as well. Okay, now check. Okay, now good. Now here you can see the edit button. Let's edit this train item. See, I am able to get the data and in the URL you can see dynamic URL. Okay, so let me inspect element and check again. So inspect element, go to networks and XHR. Now if I click on edit button and if you see network call, there is no network call because by default it's going to use query, going to use the in-memory cache. So what I will do, I will specify like fetch policy, no cache for now. Okay. Now if I go back to my landing page and reload, okay, clear network calls, and if I click on edit and go to network calls, now you can see the query. And this is payload response. And if you go to payload, you can see our query here. And here you can see our variable ID 3. Okay. And we can see our data is populated to the form. So far so good. Now we have to try to work this update button. That means we have to work on posting our updated item to the GraphQL server. So that means we have to create a mutation, right? Because saving the data to the server or updating or any changing data at the server, we have to use the mutation. Okay. So get back to schema and go to mutation. Here there is a method for updating the item. So we have to create a mutation command using this update method. Okay. So we know first we have to specify the keyword mutation, right? So mutation and our method name. Our method name is update toy, right? And here for this update toy, we have to pass our data. So can you ID and define the GraphQL variable, okay, with same name or any different name. Next, name and its variable name, okay, and price, sorry, price and variable name, image URL and variable name, okay. Now here we have to define the types for our variable types. So $.id, here you can see capital ID, exclamatory bit, that means non-nullable, okay. ID, next $.name, that is string. See, I'm just adding types that are showing here, okay. And $.price, int, $image URL, that means string, okay. And here I have to specify what are the properties that we required for the response. By default, it will give updated item as a response. So I will request for all the properties. Okay, name, price, and image URL. Okay, so here we have to prepare our payload. Okay, for to display, I am adding some dummy variable data. Okay, like this, if you add a particular item ID here, like one, and if you add some data and click on this run, then the data gets automatically updated. Okay, the data get automatically updated. If you want to test from here, you can test it. Okay, so now I want to test the update from my React application. So copy this mutation command, and we have a mutation query JS. Okay, here, so export constant update toy. Okay, GQL backticks and copy here. Okay, now I have to use this command for update the item. So if I go to my edit toy component, okay, so here I can use use mutation, use mutation. Okay, that loads from the Apollo client library. Okay, now to this use mutation, I have to pass my mutation command, right? So update toy, and from this use mutation I am going to read a method. So constant use array equal to, okay, and here I will define a method like update toy. Okay, this is a method reference, will be assigned it to here by the use mutation. If you want to read the data unloading properties, you can add a object as a second parameter in this variable, but I don't want here, just remove it. Okay, and now I have to create a handler for my update button. So here let me create a handler. So constant update toy handler. Okay, so this is the handler for my button click, so I can directly pass it. Okay, now here we have to add our logic for updation. So I can use update toy method here. Okay, so update toy, to this update toy we can pass variables, GraphQL variables. Okay, So let's go to our add toy and let's use these properties. Okay, same way we have to apply here. Okay, so these are the variable names, left hand side, and these are our form field variables. But here we have to pass ID as well. Okay, so ID, and I can read it from my use param variable. Okay, so ID. Okay, so once successfully updated, I want to navigate back to my home page. So I'm going to navigate. So let's add a variable constant navigate and use navigate method. Okay, use navigate loads from the React router DOM. Okay, so now I can use that navigate variable and pass the path. Simply slash, that means home page. Okay, so that's it. Let's try to update the item. Okay, so let's come to home page, reload page, and edit it. Let's change price to some 550. Okay, and open the network calls, clear the network calls. Now click on update. Okay, it is not working. It is not working. Okay, here variable name is wrongly given. Image URL. Okay, copy again. Okay, here update it again. I think that is the issue for bad request. If I try to update again, go to landing page, edit, use some 550 and clear network calls. Console error. Okay, this is previous issue. Now if I click on update, see, price is updated. And if I check here, network call, see, this is the payload we are passing. We are updating the third record with the price 550. Okay. And if I reload also, it will stay because that is successfully updated at the server also. Okay. So that is how we have to do update in for GraphQL endpoint. Okay. Next, we are going to focus on delete operation. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope this video delivered some useful content to you all. If you like the video, please do support me by subscribing to my channel and please like the video to support me even more. Soon we are going to meet with new videos. Until then, signing off.